Is Hogwarts the only prestigious magical school in the world? Most people would probably say yes. After all, we've spent decades walking those halls with Harry and his friends, without seeing any other schools. So what if I told you that Hogwarts is just one piece of a much more global wizarding community? If you're familiar with me and my channel, you probably know that I spend a lot of time talking about how the movies tend to strip away the lore we love from the books. But in this case, even the books are guilty of this crime. Beyond a few mentions of our European neighbors in the Goblet of Fire, the original 7 books basically ignore the fact that magic is being taught all over the world. Most of what we're talking about today is information that we've only learned after the fact, details shared by J.K. Rowling through supplementary writings that finally give us a look at the Big 8. While Rowling informs us that many wizards around the world tend to homeschool, the International Confederation of Wizards recognizes 11 elite, long-established institutions. However, J.K. Rowling only ever named 8 of them. So today, join me as we step outside of the Scottish Highlands to explore the 8 most famous magical schools across the globe. From schools hidden in volcanic islands to institutions where you don't even need a wand to cast a spell, we're diving deep into the history, the architecture, and the secrets of these global giants. My name is Gibby, and welcome back to Fact or Fantasy Harry Potter. If you enjoy deep dives into the expanded lore of the wizarding world like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, share this with a fellow Potterhead and help grow the community. As always, a massive thank you to Jason, Joshua, Timothy, RoboSteve, and the rest of my amazing Patreon and YouTube members who keep this channel running. Now, let's grab our port keys and travel to the school that started it all. Of course, we have to start with what many Harry Potter fans would consider the GOAT. Hogwarts isn't just a school, it's the definitive icon of Western magical tradition. Tucked away in the rugged Scottish Highlands, it has served students from the UK and Ireland for over 1,000 years, setting the gold standard for magical excellence in the Northern Hemisphere. It was the result of an incredible collaboration between the 4 most powerful practitioners of the 10th century: Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. But the castle itself? It's absolutely mental. Literally. It's not just a bunch of stones, it's a sentient architectural marvel. You've got 142 moving staircases that change direction on a whim, forcing students to develop some serious spatial awareness just to get to herbology on time. It's also protected by layers of ancient, unplottable enchantments. To any muggle who accidentally wanders too close, the castle just looks like a dangerous, crumbling ruin with a keep out sign on it. The grounds are basically a massive living laboratory. You've got the Great Lake and the Forbidden Forest, which, while being a total recipe for a bad afternoon if you aren't careful, provide a home for rare magical flora and fauna that you just can't find anywhere else. And of course, the heart of it all is the Great Hall, with that enchanted ceiling that mirrors the sky, hosting the sorting ceremony and those legendary welcoming feasts. And speaking of sorting, the house system is arguably the school's most enduring legacy. It institutionalizes the specific virtues the founders valued most, all handled by the Sorting Hat, a sentient artifact that can literally read your mind. As everyone knows, you have Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. While the rivalry between houses fuels things like the House Cup and Quidditch, the school's history is also marked by that famous rift between Slytherin and the other founders. Slytherin's obsession with blood purity remains a foundational tension that has shaped the wizarding world for centuries. And you can see that tension in the school's alumni. Hogwarts has produced the greatest figures in history, but they often represent 2 sides of the same coin. You have Albus Dumbledore, the beacon of light who defeated Grindelwald, versus Tom Riddle, who became Lord Voldemort. It really highlights how the same education can produce profound good or a devastating shadow. Of course, we also have legends like Harry, Ron, and Hermione, who prove at the end of the day that Hogwarts really is where the magic happens. Now moving south of the Pyrenees Mountains, we find the Beauxbatons Academy. This is the main hub of magical learning for much of Western and Southern Europe. We're talking France, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium. If Hogwarts is defined by its rugged tradition, Beauxbatons is defined by its absolute elegance and artistic flair. The school's whole identity is actually tied to the ultimate magical power couple, Nicholas and Perenelle Flamel. Yes, this is the same Nicholas Flamel that we heard about in The Philosopher's Stone. Him and his wife actually met at Beauxbatons as students. Later in life, they used their alchemist gold to fund the construction of the school's magnificent chateau and formal gardens. The centerpiece is a fountain named in their honor, which is rumored to have healing and beautifying properties. This focus on beauty and refinement is everywhere. During the winter holidays, the dining chamber is filled with non-melting ice sculptures that look like glittering diamonds, and students are actually serenaded by wood nymphs while they eat. I mean, compare that to a poltergeist throwing rolls at your head in the Great Hall, and you can see why Beauxbatons has a bit of a reputation for being fancy. Under the leadership of headmistress Olympe Maxime, who is a brilliant half-giantess with more grace in her pinky than most wizards have in their whole bodies, the school maintains a strict code of etiquette. Students stand when she enters a room, and they don't sit until she does. It shows the massive amount of institutional respect that they have there. They also have a legendary rival in Hogwarts. In the Triwizard Tournament, Beauxbatons has 62 victories, which puts them just one win behind Hogwarts' 63. But they've had the upper hand on Hogwarts in other ways, like famously crushing them in a major Wizards chess tournament back in the 80s. Their alumni list is just as impressive. You've obviously got the Flamels, but also Fleur Delacour, who was not only a Triwizard champion, but a total hero during the Battle of Hogwarts. Then you have the more colorful characters, like Vincent, and I won't even try to pronounce the rest of his name, but he used a concealment charm to fake his own decapitation during the French Revolution. Or a wizard named Luke, who is a famous pastry maker, but also a notorious Muggle poisoner. So yeah, even in a school this elegant, there's always a bit of a dark side. Now we're moving into the northern enigma, which is Durmstrang. This is arguably the most secretive of the 11 great schools, and it's definitely the one with the most intensity. Located somewhere in the far north of Europe, most likely in Scandinavia, Durmstrang is so obsessed with security that every single visitor has to undergo memory charms to make sure the location stays hidden. The school was founded in the Middle Ages by a powerful Bulgarian witch named Nerida Volkanova. But after her mysterious death, things took a sharp turn when Harfang Munter took it over. He was the one who instituted the school's focus on martial magic and dueling, laying the groundwork for the school's dark reputation. This combat-first identity was only reinforced later on by headmaster Igor Karkaroff, a former Death Eater who eventually had to flee the school. The vibe at Durmstrang is utilitarian and honestly a bit austere. We're talking about a 4-story castle where fires are only lit for magical purposes. It's cold, it's rigorous, and even though the northern winters have almost zero daylight, the students are still out there in the mountains and by the lakes using the outdoor training areas. They wear furs and blood-red robes just to survive the climate. Despite the reputation for dark arts, you can't argue with the results. Durmstrang produces wizards of exceptional skill, especially when it comes to tactical magic and Quidditch. I mean, look at their alumni. You've got Victor Krum, the international Quidditch star, but also Gellert Grindelwald, who was expelled in 1899 for his twisted pursuits. So as you can see, it's a school of extremes. But moving out of Europe, we cross the Atlantic to Mount Greylock in Massachusetts, and we find Ilvermorny, the primary magical institution for North America. What makes Ilvermorny so special is its North American synthesis. It's this incredible blend of European wand lore and indigenous American magical traditions, all wrapped up in a history that is honestly fit for a movie. It all starts with Iseult Sayre, an Irish witch and a descendant of Salazar Slytherin. Her life was tragic. Her parents were murdered by her aunt, a pure-blood extremist named Gormlaith Gaunt, who also held her captive for years. Iseult eventually managed to escape, and she fled to the New World on the Mayflower, disguised as a Muggle boy. In America, she rescued 2 magical boys, Chadwick and Webster Boot, and eventually fell in love with and married a nomad stonemason named James Stewart. The school literally grew with their family, starting as a stone house and expanding into a massive granite castle protected by mist and powerful enchantments. Because James Stewart, a nomad, was a co-founder, Ilvermorny is known as one of the most democratic and least elitist schools in the world. Their house system is a direct reflection of that family. Instead of founders, the houses are named after creatures that Iseult and her family loved: Horned Serpent, Wampus Cat, Thunderbird, and Pukwudgie. The sorting ceremony is super cool. It happens in a circular entrance hall where you stand on a Gordian knot in the floor. 4 massive wooden carvings of the mascots surround you, and they actually react if they want you. The Horned Serpent's crystal lights up, or the Wampus Cat roars, and if more than one reacts, you get to choose your house, which is exactly what happened with the famous Makusa president, Serafina Pickery. Students wear blue and cranberry uniforms, fastened by a gold Gordian knot in honor of Iseult's mother. And here's a big difference from Hogwarts. You don't get your wand until after you're sorted. Plus, there's a legendary snakewood tree on the grounds that grew from the remains of Salazar Slytherin's wand. It has powerful medicinal properties and serves as a living link to the school's complicated, messy heritage. Now let's move to a completely different part of the world and talk about Yugadu, which, by the way, from here on out, I'm probably gonna say all of these names wrong, so forgive me in advance. Anyway, located in the Mountains of the Moon in western Uganda, Yugadu is actually the largest of all the wizarding schools. It's also incredibly ancient, with a history stretching back over 1,000 years. While we're used to the European style of magic, Yugadu serves the entire African continent and is world-renowned for its mastery of wandless magic and self-transfiguration. Think about that for a second. While wizards in the UK are panicking if they misplace their wand, students at Yugadu are casting high-level spells by just pointing a finger or using a hand gesture. It's a massive advantage for staying hidden. If a muggle sees you doing magic, you can just claim that you are making a random gesture. They're also absolute legends when it comes to being animagi. At one of the international symposiums of animagi, the Yugadu school team caused a literal near riot. Why? Because a group of 14-year-olds performed synchronized transformations into massive elephants and cheetahs. That's a level of skill that most adult wizards could never touch, yet it's just part of the standard curriculum there. The physical school is just as impressive as the magic. It's carved directly into the mountainside and is constantly shrouded in heavy mist. To anyone looking from a distance, it looks like the school is literally floating in midair. Even the recruitment process feels more spiritual than a simple owl delivery. They use dream messengers who visit potential students while they sleep. When the child wakes up, they find an inscribed stone in their hand, and that's their formal invitation. Plus, they've produced some heavy hitters. You've got Babajide Akingbade, who actually succeeded Albus Dumbledore as the supreme mugwump of the ICW, so if anyone tells you that Hogwarts is the only elite school, just remind them that the person running the entire international wizarding community came from Yugadu. Now let's head into the heart of the Amazon rainforest to visit the South American hub, Castelo. This is the Brazilian school of magic, and just like Hogwarts, it uses powerful concealment charms to hide from muggles. To the non-magical eye, it just looks like a simple ruin, but for those with magic, it's an imposing temple made entirely of golden rock. Because it's buried deep in the rainforest, Castelo has become the global leader in herbology and magizoology. They actually have some of the most popular exchange programs in the world for European students who want to study the unique magical flora and fauna of the Amazon. You might actually remember a famous anecdote about Bill Weasley wanting to go on one of these exchanges, but he couldn't afford it, and his disappointed Brazilian pen pal sent him a cursed hat that made his ears shrivel up. So rule number 1, don't flake on a Castelo student. The grounds are guarded by some of the most mischievous security you'll ever meet, the Kaipora. These are small, furry spirit beings that watch over the students at night. They are a formidable deterrent for intruders, but they're also a total handful. In fact, a former headmistress of Castelo, Benedetta Durado, once famously offered to send a few Kaipora to Hogwarts just to show them how to properly deal with Peeves the poltergeist. Students here wear bright green robes, symbolizing their deep connection to the rainforest and their expertise in environmental magic. And the academic output is no joke. They've produced legends like Labatius Boroge, the world-famous potioneer who wrote Advanced Potion Making, and Hal Coho, the captain of the world-renowned Terapoto Tree Skimmers Quidditch team. It's a school that proves that if you want to master the natural world, there's no better place than the Amazon. Heading into the freezing landscapes of Russia, we find Koldovostorets, and I'm probably not going to say that name again, but it literally translates into Palace of Witchcraft. And honestly, the name fits. It's a premier institution that serves as the official wizarding school for Russia and much of Northern Asia. While we don't know as much about its founding fathers as we do for Hogwarts, its status as one of the elite Big 11 is undeniable. The vibe here is regal and highly disciplined, but what really puts this school on the map is their absolutely wild version of Quidditch. I mentioned earlier how they think European broomsticks are a bit too dainty. Well, at this school, students play the game while flying on an entire uprooted tree. Imagine the sheer magical coordination and physical strength required to maneuver a massive oak tree through the air at high speeds. It's basically the hard mode of wizarding sports, and it sets them apart from every other school in the world. Academically, they're heavyweights, and particularly in the field of potions. They have such a strong reputation that they're one of the few elite schools invited to participate in the Wizarding Schools Potions Championship. This is a massive high-stakes event that only includes the best of the best. Institutions like Hogwarts, Yugadu, and Mahatakuro, which we haven't gotten to yet. While we're still waiting for more lore from J.K. Rowling about the school and their internal house structures or specific history, their standing with the ICW tells you everything you need to know. It's an institution of the highest caliber, proving that in the East, magic is as big and powerful as the landscape itself. And finally, we have the Jade Palace of Japan, Mahatokuro. Located on the topmost point of the volcanic island of Minami Iwajima, this school is a literal masterpiece built of mutton fat jade. While it has the smallest student body of all the 11 grade schools, don't let the size fool you. They have some of the highest academic standards on the planet. Plus, they start them young. Students are admitted as early as 7 years old, although they don't start boarding until they're 11. For those younger kids who have to commute, they don't take a bus or a train, they're flown back and forth between their homes and the palace by a massive flock of giant storm petrels. One of the most iconic things about this school is their enchanted robes. When you first arrive, your robes are faint pale pink. But as you learn and your grades improve, the robes actually change color to reflect your achievements. If you're a top-tier student, your robes turn a brilliant gold. But there's one big catch. If you break the Japanese wizard's code, or heaven forbid start practicing dark arts, those robes will turn white. In Japanese wizarding culture, this is a mark of supreme disgrace. It leads to immediate expulsion and a trial before the Japanese Ministry of Magic. There are no second chances when your robes turn white. And we can't talk about Mahatokuro without talking about Quidditch. Interestingly, the sport was actually introduced to Japan by a group of Hogwarts students. They were trying to circumnavigate the globe on broomsticks, which was a pretty botched attempt by the way, and they had to be rescued by the Mahatokuro staff. The school took the game and turned it into an art form, and their training is some of the most grueling in the world, taking place over turbulent seas and during literal storms. Plus, they have to dodge planes from the neighboring Muggle airbase. It's no wonder that the Japanese national team is consistently one of the best in the world. They're basically training in God mode every single day. When we look at all 8 schools together, it's fascinating to see how the magical community has adapted to different environments and historical hurdles. Take the house system for example. In the West, at schools like Hogwarts and Ilvermorny, it's the cornerstone of the experience. It's about your core values and having a sense of family. But in places like Yugadu or Mahatokuro, they focus way more on individual progression. It's less about which team you're on and more about your personal journey and spiritual notification. Then you have the mastery of secrecy. Every single one of these schools has a "don't look at us" policy, but they all go about it differently. Durmstrang is like the Secret Service with their memory charms, while Hogwarts and Castle Abruzzo just play mind games with muggles by looking like a pile of dusty rocks. It goes to show that keeping their world hidden is a global priority, but the flavor of that secrecy is totally dependent on where you are. But the biggest point of divergence is definitely the wand. In Europe and North America, we act like the wand is the end-all be-all for precision and power. But then you look at Yugadu, and they're doing high-level magic with just a flick of their wrist. It suggests that the evolution of magical technology, using a wand versus your hands, is just as much a cultural choice as it is a functional one. So there you have it, the 8 most prestigious schools in the wizarding world. It's a bit of a shame that the books couldn't dive into all of these, but I get it, you're just trying to focus on Harry and his story. But maybe J.K. Rowling should have written a story about tree-flying Russians or wandless Ugandans. Anyway, with that being said, I want to hear from you. If a dream messenger visited you tonight, or if your robe started turning brilliant gold, which of these schools would you want to be at? Are you a fan of the elegance of Beauxbatons, or do you think you'd thrive in the rugged, dark atmosphere of Durmstrang? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lost lore of the wizarding world, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Also, check out all the playlists on my channel for a bunch more content just like this. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.